Hello, and welcome to the Second Bowl of Cereal podcast.
I'm David, your local gamer and actor.
And I'm Jonathan, a 3D modeler, artist, and software developer.
And we're two brothers who talk about television, movies, and gaming, and whatever piques our interests.
And this week, we will be starting the show with a little show called Xiaolin Showdown. So, Xiaolin Showdown was an American show that first aired on Kids WB, then later moved to Cartoon Network, and it was created by a Miss Christy Hui, Hui. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but Christy Hui. It ran for an original 3 seasons from November of 2003 to May of 2006, and it had, I believe, 50 episodes. So the crux of the show is that it is your typical MacGuffin series, right? And if you know MacGuffin series like Jackie Chan Adventures, The Talismans, or from Avengers like the Infinity Stones, or even things like Kingdom Hearts with the keyholes, right? Those are these plot devices that are just used for the main character to go out and search for to collect. Sometimes they don't really have any value beyond just the goal, but in this show, the objects all have powers, so they are also tools that get used throughout the series as different things.
How do we go about getting these items?
Well, the show is it stars 4 monks as they travel the world, and every time a new Shen Gong Wu is revealed, right? Because the plot is, or the story is, that long ago a monk imprisoned an evil witch into a puzzle cube, stripped her of her powers, and put all of them into different artifacts. Now they take the form of necklaces, rings, coins, combs. It could be anything really. Like later they get into weird stuff, like just straight up vehicles that like look very high tech,
Oh yeah.
and like a giant golden baby. But yeah, the point is that they were all scattered throughout the world until this little boy, supposedly evil boy genius, Jack Spicer, unlocked the puzzle cube and released the witch. At which point, the Shen Gong Wu started becoming active. So every time one becomes active, both teams have to go out and search for one. As soon as they find it, whoever grabs it first, it's theirs technically. But if 2 people or multiple people were to touch the item at the same time with the intention of, competing over it, or not even competing, right? Like if 2 people are touching it and they want the Shen Gong Wu, then it triggers something called a Xiaolin Showdown.
And who is it in these teams? Like you said, there were these 4 monks, correct?
Yeah, so the show follows a very multicultural team of kids, right? Very much along the lines of the BK Kids Club. But it wasn't like an in-your-face kind of like cringy forced diversity. Like all the characters do get fleshed out, even though they start kind of like a little bit of a trope, right? Because so you have Omi,
Yeah.
who's this little Chinese kid, maybe, and he's just straight up yellow. So that might be racist. Except we'll talk a little bit about that later. But
Mhm.
he's yellow, so that's his thing. Then there's Clay, who is a big beefy Texas guy. He has a lot of like Texas sayings that that's just his gimmick. Then you got Kimiko, who is a Japanese heiress to a not heiress, I guess. Well, she's the daughter of like a giant robotics game developer, I believe, of sorts.
Yeah.
Super rich, and her gimmick, I guess, not gimmick, but one of her personality traits was that she always had different clothes because
hmm
that was one of her big things, which was really cool. And because most cartoons and TV shows always only just wear one set of clothes, right? So,
Yeah. She
mhm.
even changed her hair a bit too throughout the.
Oh yeah, big time. A lot of wigs, gels, spikes, hats, helmets. She was very like the character designers did a really good job of giving her different outfits every time. Well,
Yeah.
with the exception of her gi, right? Like, all the monks on during, standard missions, I guess, they wore like a red gi with a
Like a
black
black
trim, yeah, and a white shirt. But otherwise, if they're wearing street clothes, Clay is dressed very much like a cowboy. Omi stays in his Japanese or in his gi, but Kimiko, yeah, Kimiko always dressed in a very different style, and it wasn't just like a random kind of goofy thing. It was, I mean, it was sometimes goofy, but like in a way that made sense for fashion, right? Like you
Mhm.
could tell that this is the kind of fashion that they had in that world. Then there was also Raimundo, who was a Brazilian kid, and he was voiced by Tom Kenny, who also voices SpongeBob, Ice King, and the mayor on Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was a very very complex character, right? He started off as like your typical bad boy kind of Raphael the Ninja Turtle, the cool but rude guy,
Hmm.
but still a good guy. But then they definitely had complexity on top as the show went on. Then there was like an unofficial fifth member whose name was Jermaine. He was an African American, probably African American, I guess, just a black guy from New York. Around the same age as the rest of the kids, but they meet him in an episode, and then he shows up later and joins the Shaolin Temple, even though he doesn't stay at their Shaolin Temple.
Yeah, he wasn't there in the beginning.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like
Mhm.
further episodes in.
So all these characters were voiced by pretty popular guys, pretty known characters in the scene. So Omi was voiced by Tara Strong, who also does Bubbles, Timmy, and Raven from Teen Titans. A bunch of other characters. Like there's a good chance if you watched cartoons at any point between now and the last 20 years, you've heard her voice.
Hmm.
There was so Kimiko was voiced by Gray DeLeslie, who voices Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender. She voices Frankie Foster from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and Vicky
Ah,
from Fairy Odd Parents. Yeah, all of those were her. Clay was voiced by Jeff Bennett, who voices Johnny Bravo, Dexter's dad, and then Drix from Ozzy and Drix.
yeah.
Mhm.
That sounds right.
Yeah, yeah. Raymundo, like I said, Tom Kenny.
Yep. Still
Jermaine,
crazy to think about that.
yeah,
Knowing
right.
all of his
Yeah,
other characters and then
for real. No.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like Tom Kenny when like now that you can pick it out, but like he actually puts in like a relaxed accent, right? Like it's not over the top cartoony like Brazilian accent.
Yeah. Very
Uh,
respectable.
yeah, yeah.
Very unique too to him.
Right, yeah. Then and Jermaine was voiced by Lee Thompson Young, who the only thing I really knew him from was from the famous Jet Jackson, which was like a really old Disney show, I believe from the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. But yeah, he's also known from Friday Night Lights. And then other cast members include Wayne Knight as Dojo Kanojo Cho, which was a shift shifting dragon who gave them rides to all across the world. He was
Hmm.
also the voice of Emperor Zurg in the Buzz Lightyear show that we just talked about last episode, and also Newman from Seinfeld.
Yeah, and the he dojo would also sense when the Shen Gong Wu would like emerge,
Yeah,
right?
yep, that was him.
Very
Yeah, he
person.
was like him and Wuya. They both as soon as the Shen Gong Wu activated, they both had Wuya got like her eyes went really bright and like she went into a bit of a trance state, and then Dojo usually was like some kind of allergic reaction.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was him sneezing a
Yes.
lot. Sometimes he would get like bumps, but sometimes he would just like be tingly and be like, "Oh, it's that way," not like a huge dramatic thing. But
Yeah.
it's definitely they definitely made it feel like a natural thing of like, oh, this is like a world building thing for dragons in this world, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Wuya, she just it was her magic, so that would make sense. And then Jack Spicer was the evil boy genius that unlocked Wuya. He was voiced by Danny Cooksey, who played Stoop Kid in Hey Arnold, Hot Streak in Static Shock, and Dave the Barbarian.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh, he was a pretty fun character, kind of annoying, but like you kind of root for him. Not root for him, but you root to see more of him. You want to see him fail just because it's fun. Mhm. Like there's
Yeah.
also an episode where he entertains joining the good side, and he
Yeah.
almost did, but yeah, didn't quite stick.
Yeah, but he'd also win sometimes, which is really fun to know that.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, definitely. They would
Yeah,
always, yeah, the Shaolin Showdown wasn't it wasn't always
the hero's winning every time.
yeah, especially the seasons. So let me go into the season arcs. So season one introduced the four monks as they have been chosen to become Shaolin dragons, but they need to train to do that or to reach that level. And they are all apparently Shaolin monks in their respective countries. Like it's hinted that they all come from, like Clay comes from a Texas Shaolin monk monastery somehow. I mean, Kimiko, I guess, maybe there's a Japanese one, but yeah, Raimundo also. All of them came from their own respective countries' monasteries, and we're already monks in the. I guess it wasn't a Buddhist religion, even though they were Shaolin monks. Shaolin was spelled with an X instead of an SH. So, I think that kind of maybe is a bit of it separates that religious thing.
Mm.
They don't want to like rely on religious imagery, probably, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So while they are training, they also need to go out and search for the Shen Gong Wu as they reveal themselves because they know that if Wu Ye grabs them first, then she'll be slowly regaining her powers and then ushering 1,000 years of darkness is usually the threat that Master Feng, which is their main master, that's usually like the threat that like, oh, if this happens then there will be 1,000 years of darkness or something like that.
Yeah.
So the main villain for season one are Wuya and Jack Spicer. The climax of the season has a character that is made up of Shen Gong Wu, right? Like when you collect specific Shen Gong Wu and put them together, it turns into this big, powerful bodyguard kind of guy. You can control him, and that meant the destruction of the world. Apparently, that was the prophecy. But in an attempt to save or to fend off the the villain, his name was Mala Mala Zhang. Raimundo disobeyed Master Feng's instructions to run away. He stood his ground and fought, and even though he lost but survived, um, when the season or like when all was said and done, all like, three of the monks were promoted to the next stage, but Raimundo was left behind. So it ended with him deciding to leave the team, and that was a bit of a cliffhanger that really kind of built that tension for that next season.
Yeah.
What did you think of that season? Like, what stood out from that? Do you remember anything?
Yeah, I remember watching. I don't think I ever watched it in like
Hmm.
proper order. I
Okay, yeah,
definitely
yeah,
like
sure.
watched it whenever it showed up on TV.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember, like for the most part, I definitely remember the cliffhanger and about him like Wuya giving him like his like own room with a bunch of like cool stuff in it to
Yep,
attempt it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember that, and
just
then
straight up. Mhm.
Omi freeze going back in time and freezing himself
Yes.
was
So
great.
yeah, we'll get into that. So that's season two. So at the end of season
Yeah.
one, it ends with Raimundo defecting to the Halen side, is what they call it. That's the evil side in this world. There's the Shaolin side and the Halen side. So he goes from the Shaolin side to the Halen side. So it ends with Wuya taking over the world, and all those monks are imprisoned except for Omi, who then travels back in time in order to get another sealing box from the first person who created it, and his name was Master Dashi.
Hmm.
So he goes back in time. They challenge, he challenges Master Dashi to the to a Shaolin Showdown, which Master Dashi thoroughly wins, but it ends with him just letting him win just because he asks for it, and that's all he wanted him to do, just ask for it.
Yeah, he was
Uh,
completely outskilled by him
yeah,
in
yeah,
everything he tried, and then all it took was him to just ask.
yeah, yeah. And Omi had the Orb of Toonami, which is this sphere that shoots out an infinite amount of water at a high velocity. But Master Dashi just he just used regular Tai Chi.
Hmm.
So once he gets to the puzzle box, he freezes himself, waits at the base of where Wuya's castle will be built in the future, and then spends the next, I think, 1,000, maybe a few thousand years just frozen until the castle comes up, and then he unfreezes himself. Um, it's not really explained how, aside from him just like bursting out by having his little monk dots glowing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was just thinking as well. Like, how do they know exactly when to pop out
yeah,
of
yeah,
it?
yeah. No. Oh no, no. I do. He sets a timer or something. He has a timer. I remember it, and it's a sand timer too. So
Ah,
it's ridiculous. But it's not the Sands of Time, which is a
not
separate
the
Shen
sand.
Gong Wu
Yeah.
that does time travel. But that Shen Gong Wu wasn't that didn't what's it called that didn't reveal itself until I think season 3 maybe. Either
Hmm.
way, so after the time travel, they wrap up the Raymundo arc. He comes back to the Shaolin side. Everyone's all happy, and he gets promoted along with everyone else. But then we get introduced into the new characters of Monk Guan and Chase Young, who were apparently friends of Master Dashi and somehow survived all this time because they're like immortal monks, I guess. Like Monk Guam, oh man, I forgot how he became immortal. But Chase Young, his secret is that he takes something called the Lao Pei soup, I think, or Lao Ming soup, made out of
Yeah.
dragons, and then when he drinks it, it gives him immortality as well as giving him the ability to turn into this like lizard dragon form.
Yeah.
So so yeah, so that's though those two characters are introduced. Chase Young is now the big bad guy of the series, and Chase or and Jack
Jack?
Spicer, yeah, becomes more of a joke and underling, even though he's still a bit of a joke to begin with. But
Yeah.
Wu Ye also just becomes more of a like eh, like a nuisance to Jack, or not to Jack, but to Chase Young,
Hmm.
right? Like she does try to align with him, but he doesn't really see her as a threat or really an ally. And then it ends with him manipulating. Oh, he traps Master Feng in the Yin Yang world, which is this alternate reality that if you go in with one of the Shen Gong Wu that's a yo-yo, um, it lets you open up a portal to the world. But you have to have both yo-yos, otherwise your good chi will be left inside of the Yin Yang world, and you come out evil. So Chase Young then convinces Omi to go into the yin yang world without the second yo yo, or I think he tricks him into not knowing that he doesn't have it. But either way, the result is that Omi is able to rescue Master Feng, but he leaves his good chi, so now he's evil, and then is talked into swearing his allegiance to Chase Young, and that's how that season ends.
Mm.
So, all
Yeah.
right. Mhm.
Well, Jace Young was such a cool character too.
For real, really good
Such
character designs.
such
Mhm.
a be such his attitude, his
Mhm.
personality.
Very iconic.
And
Almost
he
reminds me of Itachi before he was revealed to be a good guy, like that kind of
yeah,
mythos.
yeah. Which is why I also love Itachi as well.
Yeah, Itachi from Naruto. Yes.
Yeah. And I remember Chase Young had like a bunch of cats and tigers and stuff. Do you remember
Yeah.
why he
Yes.
had?
Okay. So the story there is that when he gets somebody to he when he defeats a warrior and he gets them to swear their allegiance to him, they become his slaves, and
Right.
he gives, and they become cat versions of themselves until he gives them the, I guess, permission to turn back into the warriors, and then he uses them to fight on his behalf sometimes. And
Yeah.
then when Omi switches allegiance, he also turns into this tiny little yellow kitten. It's
It's
adorable.
so
Yeah, it's
adorable.
hilarious.
Uh,
So yeah, that was
I
also a really cool
remember
thing he
Omi
had in that
Cat.
land.
Why do I remember Omi
Yeah, yep,
Cat?
there it is. That's Omi Cat.
Yeah.
That's why. So yeah, again, another bleak end to season two, but a really good cliffhanger. Like it felt like a really good escalation to season one. Even though the time traveling aspect, like they did a pretty decent job, despite plot holes. Nonetheless, like they didn't abuse the time travel aspect to things yet, right? Like it wasn't like a quick fix, right? Like when he so how it originally happened was that Jack Spicer had invented a time machine, but he didn't have a power source, so it could never work. And then I believe Kimiko suggested using a Shen Gong Wu called the Star of Hanabi that like shoots fire, I believe. So using that, they were able to get enough energy to make a one-way trip for Omi into the future or into the past. But then when he gets there, he realizes he has no way to get back. So that's why he has to freeze himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then season three, final season. They rescue Master Feng, and they are able to get Omi's chi back. This is a fun. It was a fun few episodes because you also see Jack Spicer go into the Yin Yang world with a reversing mirror, which is another Shengon Wu that pretty much reverses the actions of. It's like this handheld mirror that lets you reverse the actions of other Shengon Wu, but also a lot of you can reverse a lot of other things, not just Shengon Wu. Either way, you hold it up to whatever you're reversing and you shade a reversing mirror. But for whatever reason, because he went into the yin yang world with the reversing mirror, when he comes out leaving his bad chi behind. So we get good Jack for like half an episode, maybe, or maybe even a full episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a fun Jack to look at. And then yeah, they go in, retrieve Master Feng, and then they get Omi's chi back. But then, even though he gets his chi back, he still pledged allegiance to Chase Young. So then they have to have a soccer match as a Shaolin Showdown in order to win his soul back. Not his soul, but his allegiance, I guess. I'll take a pause right there to mention Shaolin Showdowns
Yes.
because yeah, we started talking about them, but what they are is when two or more people touch it, it creates this alternate reality where all your immediate surroundings change to this like battle arena or just competition arena, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way it works is, one or two or more people touch it, one person has to issue the challenge of I challenge you to a Shaolin Showdown, and then they get to issue the rules. They get to say, oh, we're doing a game of hide and seek, we're doing a game of find the needle in the haystack, we're doing a game of tag your it. There's different things, right? But the fun part happens when the environment changes. Like in the case of finding a needle in the haystack, the two competitors are riding these flying harnesses, what are they, saddles, and they have to go through this giant bale of hay in order to find a tiny well actually I think it is just straight up the Shengon Wu, but it might have been disguised to look like a needle. Either way, it was that's kind of the situation, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool scenarios. There's one where they have to run across this like tiny rock bridge while holding a glass of water without spilling a drop. There's ones where they're just sumo wrestling, so they get these giant, like their bodies change into these big fat sumo things, and they're all just sumo wrestling. There's also just straight up fighting. You could just say, "Oh, I challenge you to a fight," or hand to hand
Yeah.
combat sometimes. And a
Yeah.
lot of times it resorts to hand to hand combat with the Shengon Wu too, right? Like they're just fighting while they're doing the tag or while they're doing, collecting fish or, whatever those challenges are. Do you remember any specific challenges?
I remember a few. Like, I don't remember if you went into the that one character, the cat one, the
Okay.
thief, the black
Yeah, Cat Nappe. Yep.
cat
No,
Nappe.
no, we
Yeah,
haven't mentioned her yet.
we haven't mentioned her,
Mhm.
but she's a great character,
Yeah,
and
very fun.
she uses one of my favorite Shen Gong Wu's, the
Okay.
golden tiger
Oh
claws.
yes, the Golden Tiger Claws.
Prime.
Such an overpowered Shen Gong Wu that the first episode is revealed. They have to go and throw it into the center of the earth.
Yup. It's the design of it is like a one giant claw
Mhm.
and is able to make portals anywhere.
Yep, is pretty much. Yeah, it's because it is. I mean, it is just like a portal gun, right?
Yeah.
Um, you can't shoot it to surfaces, but yeah, as long as you scratch just, I guess, the air, it creates a portal. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was very very powerful. They do bring it out at one point because they need it in order to, I think, get the heart of Mala Mala Zhong, which is
Yeah.
that big guy. But yeah, the very first episode they introduced that the claw. They're like,
Yeah.
nope, it's too powerful.
And then it was the Xiaolin Showdown. It was like a game of tag, and I think it
Mhm.
was like by the was I don't remember if it was or wasn't the Stonehenge,
Okay.
or it kind of looked like it.
Uh-huh.
It
Sure.
was just like a fun place to have them do a game of
Yeah.
tag in.
Yeah. That's another cool thing because a lot of it is globe trotting, so they go to different, just different fun locations around the world, whether it be monuments or landmarks or just different biomes, whether it's the desert or frozen tundra. I don't know, right?
Yeah, did you explain that like during these Shaolin
Mhm.
showdowns, each of the people were allowed to either use one or more Shengon Wus?
Yes. Well, so we haven't. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
rules in Shaolin Showdowns are there's a lot of them, and every time they need to explain it, Dojo, the dragon, he like pops out this big book from his pocket,
Yeah.
and puts on little reading glasses, says something. But yeah, so it's the basic Shaolin Showdown is both characters wager one Shengon Wu, and they are allowed to use that one Shengon Wu during the battle. But there are more complicated versions called Shen Yu Bu Dares, where the person can then wager as much Wu as they have. So they can even go all in, is the max, right? It's called Shen Yu Bu All In. Um or not Shen yeah. Um and yeah, so then you can use more Wu, but then you also have the possibility to lose more Wu.
Yep.
Then there's also Shaolin Showdown trios and four ways and five, six, seven ways, where just
Yeah.
multiple people can all compete in one thing.
Those were fun episodes to watch.
Yeah. There was the boat race one where they all have they have to do they have speedboats, but they look like almost like Chinese stylized Viking boats. So yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
cool design. And they also have I don't think they have guns on the ships, but at the very least they use the Shengon Wu to shoot at each other or to cause damage between the boats.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then that was the end of season three, or sorry, that's the beginning of season three, where they retrieve Omi and they have that soccer Shaolin showdown in order to get his soul back. Because again, like even though the Shaolin showdown, the way that the show starts, the way they know it is with Shengon Wu. In their timeline, just monks back in the day just had regular plain old showdowns, and you could just bet whatever you want, which is what Master Dashi tried to. Master Dashi, when Omi first challenged him to Shaolin Showdown, when he went back in time to get him the puzzle box, he didn't know what a Shaolin Showdown was. He just knew it as a showdown.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah, so that is the beginning of season three. They introduce a character named Hannibal Roy Bean, who is the new big bad villain. He is another character that is from the past, and he was trapped in the yin yang world and gets released when I believe Jack went in and out. Either way, so at some point, whenever somebody went out in and out of the yin yang world of the previous season, Hannibal Bean was released. And he was the one who convinced Chase Young to turn to the dark side because Chase Young was also a Shaolin monk before he became evil.
Hmm.
Then they do a lot more time travel stuff because now they have a time traveling Shen Gong Wu called the Sands of Time. And we had get some alignment swaps and alternate history where now Chase Young is the good guy and Monk Guan is the bad guy. And then it ends with Raymundo getting promoted to the Shoku Warrior, which is the now, I guess, well, they make it seem like it's the leader of the team, but yeah, well, that's kind of how it ends. He gets promoted above all the other three, and then Omi seems like like he's not upset, but like he's proud of him and he understands. I think.
Yeah, he goes through
Um,
a lot of that through that episode. Yep.
yeah. He was humbled and he learned a
Yep.
lot because that
Yeah.
was one of his big character arcs was humility.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of how it ends. It's very open ended because it ends with just all the evil people showing up in front of the Shaolin Temple, and then they do the clash thing where both teams just run at each other. And that is the end of the original run of Xiaolin Showdown. Then they went into trading cards in 2005. They were released by Wizards of the Coast. They also had a video game developed by Konami that released on the PSP, the PS2, the Xbox, and the Nintendo DS.
What?
And then in 2013 they had something called Shaolin Chronicles,
Oof.
which was the continuation series that was very very unpopular. They changed a lot of things. First things they it went from Warner Brothers production to something called Action Flix, which is a French production studio. And then I believe most of the casting went to Canada. So then the only people who returned to voice were Tara Strong and Jennifer Hale. Everyone
Hmm.
else was recast. So that's also disappointing. They also apparently didn't retain the licenses of the names to a lot of the Shen Gong Wu, so they had to
Yeah.
rename most of them, and that's also just that puts a bad taste in your mouth. And then they introduced a character named Ping Pong as a cherry on top of this crap Sunday. Yeah, it's just like a tiny clone of Omi, who's already pretty tiny himself. But he has like big green glasses, is from Europe somehow, but somehow still looks identical to Omi. So yeah, this is another thing. All right, well, we'll talk about that. But yes. So he's very annoying, but he's also voiced by Tara Strong. And I saw the first, I think, two episodes, but I just couldn't watch it.
Hmm.
The only really thing they did differently, differently in terms of creative, right? Like because the licensing of the names and the voices were all different, but like
Hmm.
in terms of doing something different from the original show, when they entered a Xiaolin Showdown, they turned it into a CGI thing.
Yep.
So if anyone has seen Code Lyoko, that had a very similar segmented thing where the animation part was in 2D, or where I think like half the episode was in 2D when they're in the real world, but when they go into the computer world, they become 3D models.
It is like
Uh,
that, isn't it?
it is exactly like that.
Yeah.
Like really, Shaolin Showdown Chronicles is the spiritual successor to Code Lyoko.
Uh,
But yeah, it was pretty bad. I think it only ran for one season on Disney XD, and then it got released on Netflix. So yeah,
yeah.
20 episodes, I believe.
Yeah, the 3D was very wonky.
Yeah, no, it was.
And a lot of repeat of backgrounds, I think I heard. I think.
Yeah, also, yeah, the
Yeah.
art style was also very like I don't know. It felt a lot cheaper. It felt very like off. Yeah, they definitely changed the art style. It wasn't like a drastic change, but it was a very noticeable change.
And what were some of your favorite parts of Shaolin Showdown? Like plot wise or like scenes wise
Mm.
or the things such?
Well, first thing I like to highlight is the character designs, specifically Chase Young and Jack Spicer.
Ah.
Chase Young, we already talked about, has that Itachi vibe, can turn into a lizard, is a Tai Chi master. He has a big lair, whole army of tiger warriors or feline cat warriors. And yeah, and then just is seemingly above the use of Shen Gong Wu. because he
That's
says they were a
right.
crutch. Yeah, that
He
like he
never
didn't need
used
them.
them.
No, and he
Yeah.
still beat everyone.
I
So there was that character, and then Jack Spicer, a bit of a different villain because he's more of a laughing stock, but still very cool character design with the spiky red hair, the goggles with the swirls, white skin. He had that helicopter pack and the jackbots, which were very funny, right? They had a lot of
Yeah.
bits where they would just blow up or like, be dressed up in different get-ups and like yeah, he had a lot of it gave him a lot of creativity for like what kind of enemies he can make.
Yep. Remember how he was more competent as a monkey?
Yeah, yep, yeah. Well, I don't know how much of it is that he was more competent. Well, I mean, I
It
guess
was the attributes that Shen Gong Wu gave him.
yeah, because all right, so the episode David's talking about is the one where Jack gets the monkey staff, which is a staff that has the decoration of a little monkey on top of it, and if you wield it, then you can well you get the powers of a monkey, but the longer you hold on to it, the more monkey like you become, and you lose your humanity. So yeah, obviously other villains kind of just convinced Jack to keep holding on to it so they could manipulate him. But then also, yeah, he definitely was a lot more formidable because his monkey strength, speed, agility, all that made him actually hand-to-hand combat. Um, not specialist, but like just yeah, formidable, right?
Yeah.
Similarly to how Ron Stoppable in Kim Possible gets those mystical monkey powers for the kung fu thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it had kind of similar vibe to that because Jack Spicer didn't actually have any sort of training, but with the monkey staff somehow gave him that ability. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a great one. Another great Shen Gong Wu was the tongue of Sai Ping, which let you communicate with other animals.
Oh yeah.
Third arm sash, which like you wore like a belt, but it let you uses the end of the sash like a third arm. There was also the fist of Teddy Gong, which was this iron or the metal looking fist that you could just use to break through rock.
There was that helmet that let you see behind you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that was the Wushu helmet. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there was the helmet of Zhang, but I don't think that had any powers beyond just protection and then also forming uh the Mala Mala Zhang, which was the
Yeah.
character, right?
Yep.
So yeah, yeah.
And there was that one Shengon that was just a cannon.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot what that one was. But yeah, yep, just straight up a cannon.
And the ants in your pants,
The
Shengon
ants
Wu.
in your pants was fun. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
just like this serving tray that like you opened up and a bunch of ants just poured out and did whatever you wanted.
Do you remember how many Shengon Wu there were? So was there like
Um,
100 or maybe
wow.
less than that?
There was probably it was probably in the 70s. No, it couldn't have been that much
I
because
don't know.
they
It may have been. There,
yeah because there were episodes where they just had new Shengon Wu that had been collected at one point that we didn't
yeah.
see. So like there were more Shengon Wu that we like there were more Shengon Wu mentioned than episodes.
Yeah.
So it was very likely over 60. But yeah, I don't think they ever gave a hard limit as to or a hard number to what like how many Shengon Wus there were.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know if you went into it that like each of the monks did have like an elemental power as
Yes.
well.
Yep. Yeah, that was another feature that each monk had. Just the four main one. Omi was water, Kimiko was fire, Clay was earth, and Raimundo was wind. So they used these elemental powers in combination with their kung fu moves. So Clay would have something called a seismic kick, which he would use to, split the earth or just really do high damage. Kimiko would have, I think, some judo a flip fire, I think, or something like that. And then she would spin around doing, I think, a bicycle kick type thing, and she would create a ring of fire around her. Omi had it was something where he shot out. Well, he was able to shoot out water. Like he spun around. I think it was like something tornado, maybe water tornado, tsunami. Oh, like tsunami strike, maybe. Yeah, tsunami strike water. He would say, and then he would like make an attack, and water would come out. Raimundo would do wind things, so he would do like slicing stuff. I don't think there was any other elemental people. I think they gave ping pong one in the Chronicles, but I didn't watch it.
They did? I
Uh,
didn't even, yeah, I never
I
even
don't
thought
even.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't know. Oh, yes, they did. It was wood. I think he was wood.
You
The
got
dragon.
wood?
Yep, he
Uh,
got wood.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one lamp Shen Gong Wu in one episode
Mhm.
where Omi was able to use his team members' elements as well in one of his battles. That
Yep,
was
the
so fun.
Sun Chi Lantern. I think all the other the other Shaolin dragons got captured, and Omi was the only one who was out and about, and he was pinned down in the same room. So he used the Sun Chi Lantern to absorb the chi of the other dragons, and then he could use all their powers. It didn't kill them, right? Because that would have been
Yeah.
dark. It just gave him their powers for a bit, and then
Yeah.
he returned the chi.
And they would always have to do that cool pose to activate the elemental powers, right?
I think you're thinking of the Excume formation because the for the well, may actually no, you might be right. No, yeah, because yeah. The Excume formation was when they all grouped together in the pose, right? Then
Yeah.
they created like a little pyramid looking thing. But no, yeah, when they did their elemental things, I don't know. See, that's because like it cuts into like the background being like a like a like a vortex. I don't know. It's like instead of them being in whatever environment they are, the background became some kind of textured color, and they would do their pose, and the logo would just come right at the screen, right? So like
Yeah.
it's unclear if that's actually what they're doing in the physical space or that's just the effect in the show showing you that they're doing that, right? Like
Yeah.
so because like yeah, when it cuts to the actual fight, like they're not doing that pose. They like go into whatever whatever kung fu move they're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, then the ex-Kume formation, they would all get into that human pyramid and they would do some kind of combined elemental attack. I think that happened in maybe season three. Yeah, that was something they introduced after they got promoted, like at least once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you remember any cool scenes where they would combine, they'd combine their power and like a Shingon Wu at the same time to do something,
Yes,
right?
yeah. So there
Like
was
what
one
a,
episode where Raimundo was like the episode started with him getting into some kind of trouble because he didn't really do any of the reading or practice, and he wasn't paying attention when Dojo was explaining what the Shen Gong Wu did. Pretty sure it was a reversing mirror. No, it was a Sword of the Storm. Yeah. So they went out
uh,
to Rio de Janeiro to pick up the Sword of the Storm, and because Raimundo is from Brazil, well, actually, it might not have been Rio de Janeiro. I think it was just a tropical place, and because it was a tropical place, and Raimundo was from Brazil, he's just gonna go surfing instead of looking for the Shen Gong Wu. That being said, he does find the Sword of the Storm, but then gets immediately beaten by Taimura, who is this big fat sumo guy.
oh yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yep,
that
yeah. He was
guy.
trying to prove that he was a competent hitman, or I guess just mercenary.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he fights Raimundo, and Raimundo loses because he doesn't know that the Sword of the Storm can't be used as a physical sword, but rather to control the wind. And because it's his elemental power, all the other Shaolin monks kind of give him crap for it because like he lost his own elemental power, Shen Gong Wu. So I mean, it doesn't mean that it belongs to him, but rather that like it should augment his power, or at least he should have like an edge with it, right? Because like there was also the Star of Hanabi, which Kimiko would use to enhance her own fire stuff. The Orb of Tonrami that we talked about, Omi would use
Yep.
for his water stuff, and then I think Fist of Tebigong for clay.
Ah.
But I think he might have also used the third arm sash sometimes and turned that into stone. So yeah, they would combine their power, their physical or their elements, right? So he turned the third arm sash into a stone thing so that he could punch harder. Um, but I think also maybe the Teuton tunic he would use sometimes with his earth powers to make it extra stable. But I'm not sure if that what happened.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and then did anything else? And oh yeah, so Raimundo would use the Sword of the Storm to fly. Well, no, to fly. He could combine the Shen Gong Wu powers. So there was the Eye of Dashi that he combined with the Sword of the Storm,
Yeah,
and those two. Mhm.
yeah, I think I remember the episodes where he locks in and actually studies, and then it's the first
Yep,
time we find out that you could wager more than one Shen Gong Wu in a battle.
exactly. Yeah. So
That
there's
was
like
an
a
awesome
montage. Like
moment.
after he loses the Sword of the Storm, there's like a whole montage of him studying, and then yeah, he comes out with like all these rules that he looked up. That like even Dojo was like, huh, I have to look that one up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a Shen Yi Dare, which allowed him to wager multiple Shengan Wu, right? So that
Hmm.
way he wagered two Shengan Wu, but then he also retrieved the one that he lost the first time. So, like, symbolically making up for his past
Yeah.
error.
That was a great episode.
Oh, yeah, big time. There were a lot of few moments like that, right? There was one episode where Kimiko, like her temper was like her issue, I guess, and all the boys were kind of giving her a rough time about it, and yeah, then they learn to mature and not not give her
Mm.
so much guff, but then also she learned to use and channel her anger in like a more effective way during the Shengon or the Shaolin showdowns.
Yeah. A lot of
uh,
character developments.
yeah, speaking of one character, yeah, the Omi didn't get any like Omi was a little interesting because it's the show started with all the dragons coming to the Shaolin Temple, or at least the main one. And Omi's already there, right? He grew up in there, and I think we're told he's an orphan. But all we know is that he was raised at the monastery. So all the other Shaolin dragons have families, right? We see Clay's dad, our parents, his family. He has like a
Yeah.
sister who's a biker gang. We
Yeah.
see Kimiko's dad, and then Raimundo. I want to say he mentions his siblings, maybe his parents, but I don't think we ever see them.
Yeah. I don't
Not
remember much
yeah,
about that.
but yeah, but Omi, there was an episode where we do at least seemingly see that he like his family comes to get him, and like it turns out they're a bunch of like hick farmers, so like they want him to come back to the farm and give up his Shaolin style, but
Mm.
it turned out that they were all robots made by Jack Spicer. Yeah.
Uh,
So all the robots were just literally just clones of Omi, but like in different disguise, like in different like those old ones. There were ones in drag and whatever. But yeah, they all had big
uh,
yellow cheese heads. So
uh,
yeah, like there were. I remember at one point there was some discussion about Omi's character design being racist because he was yellow, but all the other Asian people in that monastery were not yellow. So
like,
like I don't know that it was designed as like a racial stereotype, but that's giving it the benefit of the doubt.
yeah.
Who knows?
Like, what if Omi wasn't even really a human?
Ah, he was an alien, and then ping pong. See, now that could have been something,
That could
because
have been
ping
some.
pong did seem like an alien.
Yeah.
Did not seem like somebody who would be on Earth. I mean, Omi obviously doesn't either, but at least compared to all the other characters, he seems like a legitimate, like a real person in that world.
Yeah.
Ping pong just seemed like a parody of characters from that world.
Yeah.
Like if like he would, it feels like he would be like Mr. Mixelplix from Superman, or the Great Gonzo from Flintstones, or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah. But I think that actually covers most of what I want to talk about. Xiaolin Showdown. It's a pretty good show. I definitely recommend going back and watching it. And if you haven't watched it, it's actually not that like I would still recommend maybe going and watching it for the first time. Not necessarily all the way through, but there's a lot of good moments that I think if you enjoy cartoons from that era, you'll probably enjoy that cartoon.
Yeah, same here.
All
All
right,
right.
so oh, damn
Yep.
it.
Oh, so yeah. So then we've got my show that I wanted to bring
Mhm.
today.
Yep.
That show being Lilo and Stitch the series.
Ooh,
For
all
some people
right.
who may have not known, the amazing movie Lilo and Stitch also itself had its TV show. It
Now
came
you're
out.
talking about the amazing Lilo and Stitch movie that came out what this year?
Oh no 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 no! I'm talking about the
Oh,
original cartoon one.
of course. No, yeah.
I can't
How? I didn't
imagine.
know it was based on. Is it like originally Japanese?
No, it's originally Hawaiian.
Ah,
No, it's American. I'm pretty sure, but
Hawaii is
definitely
American.
set in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Originally set in space in the beginning, but then if you've seen the movie, we find out that Stitch gets to stay with Lilo as long along with Pleakley and Jumba,
Hmm.
and they develop a whole new life together. And and we find out that actually Jumba, while he was still is a big evil scientist man,
Hmm.
he developed a whole bunch of monsters like Stitch.
Yeah.
Stitch's code name is 626,
Hmm.
meaning that Jumba had made 625 other experiments.
Yeah.
And we find out
Well,
in
more.
the
What we find out more, right? Or go ahead.
oh
Sorry.
yeah, later on he develops like I think two, maybe three more
Well,
later
wasn't there
on.
also Experiment Zero?
That was actually in an anime that they it was
Okay.
later on. It wasn't in
Okay.
the original TV show,
Mhm.
but that one comes later, and that one's kind of funny.
Okay.
But yeah, in this original TV show, I think it came out 2 years after the original movie,
Uh-huh.
and it had its own movie to start off as like a pilot, where it
Oh.
showed off like an electrical experiment that they had to go and try to hunt down.
Yeah, like the yellow
And
guy with like
yeah,
the
and
antennas
then
that look like lightning.
yep, and they originally, I think the plan was for them to like dehydrate it because originally these experiments were in these little pods that once they touch any kind of moisture,
Mhm.
they rehydrate into their experiment forms.
Yeah, I think
And
they're supposed to look like gumballs, right? Because like
yeah, they very much look like marbles, gumballs. They'd
yeah, because
have like a
the
solid color or they'd have like a stripe or a swirl.
yeah, and then the number on it, I think, right or
Yup,
no? Okay.
yes, it would have the number.
And then the big
And
container of it was like a big gum was like a small gumball machine, right? Like you would
yeah,
turn the thing and they would pop out.
yeah, it had like this cool design where like they press it and it would expand and it would show information.
Yeah.
And I think Gantu was hired by a villain that we didn't find out that we didn't know about in the movie. But I think maybe
We
there was
don't?
like yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Dr.
Hamsterville.
Hamsterville? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
I forget what his
Hamsterville
first
or
name.
Hamsterville because he's it's always a joke about how it's
Oh
not
yeah, that's true.
hamster. Yeah. But he's like kind of like a gerbil almost.
Hmm,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was used to be Gantu's old science partner. Either
No,
he hired him or
Jumbas.
yeah, Jumbas. Did I say?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You said
Yeah, but
Gantu.
yeah, Jumba.
Mhm.
He hires Gantu to steal back the experiments,
Right,
which
right.
was that gumball machine,
Hmm.
which as they fight for it ends up dispersing all of them all over Hawaii. And yeah, the
Yeah.
first one that gets rehydrated is the electric one. And they go and try to get him, but then Lilo, instead of wanting to just put him back into his little orb form, decides to
Hmm.
find a purpose for him at this abandoned lighthouse, and he decides they have him stay there, and he happily lives there, and they give him a name Sparky, and then
Mm,
that
yeah.
basically sets the tone for the rest of the show that
Uh-huh.
comes after that. There would be an experiment that rehydrates. They would always show how it rehydrates. Like somehow they all conspicuously stay hydrated in like one
Right,
of the most
yeah.
wettest places in the planet.
Uh,
But like
yeah,
one
that
episode,
was that was a common trope with other like MacGuffin shows, right? Like we talked about
yup,
like with the Jackie Chan talismans that they only activated at like every once in a while, like not at once. Shen
yeah,
Gong Wu also only activated at one, right? That way it gave the show enough time to be like, oh, let's do it every week.
yup.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would go that they'd show the experiments, rehydrate. They go
There
through like a little cool,
there was
like,
one pair of experiments that came out at the same time, right? That they were like a two gangster kind of guys, like a
yes, I
big guy
love
and then
those
the
two.
small guy.
Yeah, it was like a Bonnie and Clyde kind of
Kind of, yeah,
duo.
like the Bugs Bunny characters, like the little Capone and then his big muscle guy, right? Because
Yeah,
Bonnie and
like
Clyde
that.
were like a couple.
Yeah, the small one was a female with like a
Oh,
robot.
she
Yeah,
was.
she
Oh,
was.
then it was a. Oh, then they probably did
Yeah,
name
I'm
them
pretty
Bonnie
sure
and
I don't
Clyde.
remember the names, but their names are very reminiscent of it.
Okay,
And
yeah, that
it's
makes
even
sense.
funny because like for like every single other experiment, for the most part, they find like places and homes for them to live off happily. But for
Hmm.
those two at the end, they just send them to prison.
That's
So
hilarious.
it's hilarious, yeah. So yeah, it would be a lot of fun seeing that show because like there would be a few times where not just one experiment would rehydrate, but two. Like
Hmm.
there
Okay,
was
yeah.
one where it was like this water-based squid one and a
Okay.
lava-based like
Oh,
reptile-looking one
oh yeah, I
where
think I remember at least the end of that one, right?
yeah,
Go
and
ahead. Hmm.
they rehydrate and then as they go through, they end up finding a place for them to make new islands
Right.
where they
Yep.
would, yep. That would be so cool because they would always have like these experiments have crazy powers
Hmm.
and they would find at the end a way for them to have like a place in society that people would be able
Yeah.
to live alongside them.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there are a few experiments that like the how do I say it? Like they ended up not having like a place in
Okay.
society, but
Like a
they
yeah for
end up
permanent home.
yeah, they wouldn't have a permanent home, but they not even a permanent home, but they didn't really have a place in society, so they
Okay.
end up
Mhm.
just giving it to the little old lady.
Oh
And they
yeah,
end up just
the
being cat.
market, right?
Yeah,
Like the
she
fruit
ends
market.
up yeah, the fruit market
Uh,
market lady, and they'd be her cats in a way.
oh yeah. Okay,
And
that's
she'd have
hilarious.
like 12 of them in her house,
Oh
all
my
running
goodness.
amok, causing chaos.
Yeah,
It
because she
was
was like
funny.
blind, right?
Yeah, she was basically half blind.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, and it would be fun to go throughout the show,
Uh-huh.
like in chronological order as well. I don't
Okay.
even think I've fully done it chronologically in order. Like I
Okay.
watched it as it was coming on TV.
Uh-huh.
But like th some episodes, like the experiment would be too hard for them to like keep contained or to like help it like calm down, that they would need to bring back an experiment from a previous episode to help
Mm.
them out. Like there
Okay,
was
yeah.
this one, I forget which, I'm pretty sure it was like this fire beast or it
Okay.
was the ice one where they had to bring the other one from a previous episode to help
Oh,
fight it back
sure. Okay,
because they
that
both
makes
had
sense.
like extremely powerful
Mm-hmm.
elemental powers.
Mm.
Which, speaking of, something that I didn't find out until like a year or two ago, maybe a year and a
Okay.
half, is that the experiment numbers had categories for them for each 100.
Sure.
So
Oh, so every 100 he would change
like
like what?
the category of like what
Mm-hmm.
it would do. So like the
So okay.
first 100 were
Mm-hmm.
like a test batch where it would mainly be like household items or like
Like
helpers, and then the
appliances.
next series, like the 100 series,
Mm.
would be civic disruptors, where they would be like
Oh,
things that
okay.
would shred things, or there was one that would turn things into babies, one that caused traffic
Hmm.
jams, and
How
yeah,
would it
they
cause traffic jams?
like it was literally just a traffic post. Like it was like a small body,
What?
super long neck, and its head
Oh.
was traffic lights. I don't even think it had its own episode. It was just one in the background, and
Is that
even
even a power? That just feels you could just make
yeah,
the
no, it
robot.
was just very silly. Jumba
Yeah,
would be
that's
very silly
hilarious.
sometimes with his
Yeah.
experiments. So yeah, and then the 200 series was technology and science.
Mm.
The 300 series was psychological experiments, ones that would
Ooh.
mess with your mind and
Was
other
there like a
things.
Joker or not Joker, like a Scarecrow gas one that like gave people
I
fears?
feel like that, yeah, that sounds like one that was
Right?
like it
Okay.
shoot out gas and like it
Something like
made you
that.
like
Or like
have
it turned
fear
into
toxins.
gas, or even maybe just psionic waves. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. And there was also one that would be like they would like possess items. That was a fun one because in the
Mm.
end it was like a ghost one that would possess
Okay.
items.
Oh yeah.
And in the end they had it so that it possessed like this animatronic parrots in like
Mm.
this dying restaurant that Lilo liked and
Oh, okay.
ended up saving it.
Oh, that's adorable. That's nice.
Yeah. And then there's the 400 series that would
Hmm.
be like military experiments,
Mm. Okay.
like top secret things that apparently most of the times wouldn't work the way they were supposed to.
Like what?
Let me.
I'm guessing it'd be like a stealth one, like an
I'm
invisibility,
pretty
maybe.
sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I remember there was the one that like ended up causing pollution that like in its early
Mm,
phase would actually clean up things
okay.
first.
Okay.
It would like pick up trash, and at first they thought it was an experiment that was actually good.
Hmm.
But then as it further goes along, it end up like having enough trash built up inside of it that it would start
Okay.
to grow, and then it would start spewing it all out as gunk and causing more havoc.
Okay.
So like in the beginning, it's not great, but and then once it gets to that point,
Was there one that was just a cannon?
I think so. That like there's definitely quite a
Yeah.
few experiments that were just in the background in some episodes.
Okay.
Like they wouldn't have their own episodes, but there was
Yeah.
definitely some that were just cannons, and then there were some that would be like havoc causers. There
Uh-huh.
was the lava one that it had like three cannons, but it would shoot out
Oh,
lava
okay.
balls. So it could be that one, but there also could
Yeah.
be the one where it's just like a head that's a cannon. That's
Okay.
very
Yeah. Yeah.
possible. Like like a Shen Gong Wu.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Birdo, right?
Yep. And then there's the 500 series, and that
Mhm.
one ended up being like environmental and elements based ones. Like that's the
Mm.
lava one, the water
Okay.
one,
Yeah.
and the other ones. And then there's the 600 series, the ones that Stitch was part of, which were like the Battlefield
Okay.
and like Doomsday starters.
Okay.
They would be the ones that would like cause the most chaos.
Mm.
And then there's the ones that came after Stitch. So those guys were like experiments that Gantu decided to create, even though he wasn't evil anymore, but he wanted to like prove that he still had it in him. To
Jumba.
Jumba, yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
gosh, I
Yeah.
keep. How do I keep messing that up?
Yeah.
But yeah, Jumbo would create more evil experiments, and then I even saw that they had like a little Easter egg of that in the new movie, the live action one, where
Oh, okay.
somehow he had plans to turn Stitch into Experiment 627, which was like a red, eviler version. Which
Oh,
in the original show, it was just a whole new experiment, but
right.
somehow in the live action one, he wanted to turn it into that, which is, I'm not sure how that would work. But
Yeah.
either
I mean,
way,
that's probably just a way to save on CGI, right? Instead of making
yeah,
two CGI monsters, you just start
yeah.
stick
It
to
would have
one.
been so much more fun if they decided to just have Jumbo break out 627.
Mm, yeah,
That would have
yeah.
been that would have been cool. That's what they should have done.
Yeah, that would have
Instead of
been the
just
way to
having it be an
go,
Easter egg.
right? That should
Yeah.
have been the final villain of the movie. Then, like, if they wanted to do something different, instead they
Yeah.
sent Nani to
Instead of just re
college
Yep.
and kept it Jumba as the villain.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah,
Wait, was Gantu in the new ones?
Gantu was not in the new one. They
What?
completely took him out.
Oh, that is a
They
crime.
apparently they couldn't put it in the budget somehow or something
Yeah,
ridiculous like
no,
that.
yeah,
Which at
sure.
that point, why even make that movie if you're not willing to put
Yeah,
like Lilo, the original movie was revolutionary. I think it saved Disney when it was going through like a dark point, like
okay.
after it finished its renaissance and they
Like
were
it had
running out
just
of
broken
ideas,
up with its
and they gave it.
girlfriend, lost its job.
And then they said, you know what? Just put Walt's head in a frozen thing or something
Yeah.
like that. So yeah.
Uh,
So that's the like the awesome thing about the Experiments series. So then other aspects of the show
mhm.
is how like the animation, like it's not as like amazing as the original movie, but it
Right.
still holds up fairly well.
Yeah, I've
And
seen clips of it here and there, and it
yeah, and one
looks.
of the
Mhm.
great aspects of it is that it's about they decided to keep the water back or the water paint backgrounds.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
that's
Yeah,
how they
I
would
didn't
keep
notice that.
the like the flow, like the atmosphere. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
similar to the movie, and it was
Keeps the
always so
tone.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't look cheap. That is one thing that I can't say about other spin-off shows.
Yeah, and
Like a lot of the earlier Disney spin-off, like the Aladdin and the well, even some of those were pretty high quality, right? Like
yeah.
the Jungle Book one where all of the Jungle Book characters were in like a city. I think that one I think was the cheap one. But then you had Goof Troop.
Hmm.
But I guess Goof Troop wasn't really a spin-off of Disney movies, right? There was a Tarzan
Yeah.
show. The Tarzan show was actually pretty well animated.
Yeah. And something that I personally think
Hmm.
that's helped the show itself kind of like gain somewhat popularity
Uh-huh.
was the large array of experiments, probably
Hmm.
somewhat mirrored to Pokemon
Oh, of
in a
course.
way,
Yeah, I
because
mean with the
they had
little
all
cat,
their
like yeah,
creatures.
their dehydrated
And
form being in tiny little balls.
yep, it was like a perfect flow. I'm pretty sure they didn't have that planned when they made the movie to have a
Oh
show
yeah,
to have it
probably
be
not.
based on the experiments, and yet they came up with the idea to make it fit so like seamlessly to have their
Yeah,
own little creatures, gotcha things.
which then actually brings up the question if, well, I guess it doesn't bring up a question necessarily, but you'd think that if they um you think that if they imprisoned, because like at the beginning of the Stitch movie, right? They had Jumba imprisoned, and then they brought in Stitch as a reveal, right? He was in that little the glass tube. And he was all like running
Yeah,
around like licking the thing. Did the
yeah,
Mika Malaquishka thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Then when we find out that all the other experiments existed, all of them were dehydrated and kept in a storage thing. So why
yep,
didn't they do that to Stitch instead of keeping him unhydrated and risking him escaping, which is what he did?
yeah. I'm gonna most likely assume that since they didn't have the series planned out, they probably didn't have those concepts in mind.
Oh, sure,
If I have
definitely.
to, but like by the
Like in world,
like
in
lore
universe.
in
Mhm.
world wise, I can't say for sure. Maybe Stitch was just that crazy
That's
to be
wait. Do
contained.
we ever see Stitch dehydrated in the show?
I want to say yes, because I have like a small memory of that, but
Mhm.
I
Right?
can't
Like it
say
feels
for
like it'd be a
certain.
dramatic kind of
Yes,
like oh no,
I
Stitch got dehydrated. Like when Garnet or one of the
yeah,
other crystal gems goes back into a gem.
yeah. Yeah, I do know, I do remember the 627 that they weren't able to find a place for him to belong, so they had to
Okay.
dehydrate him.
Yeah.
627 being like Jumba's essentially times two creation of Stitch, where everything
Hmm.
about it was just like double strong,
Right. And
double his strength, double his speed, double his
mm.
intelligence.
Oh wow.
And that the only way to stop him was to take advantage of his double sense of humor to make him laugh
What
by like making Stitch do like just like
slapstick stuff?
self-inflaming her
Okay.
humor and
Yeah.
make him laugh himself uncontrollably until they were just able to put him into the dehydration
Hmm.
machine. It was
Interesting.
a funny way. And they even hinted at Jumbo already working on a 628.
Of course, yeah.
And that one we actually never see. Like you think
Okay. Uh-huh.
they had it because they worked on a finale movie for the show as well.
Oh,
That
was
was
it
a big
released or
one.
did it actually or
Oh
did it
yes,
just
it
work on it?
was
Okay.
released. It
Uh-huh.
was a movie called Leroy and Stitch, and
Oh
that was like the
yeah.
finale of the
No, wasn't there
show.
also Stitch has a glitch?
Stitch Has a Glitch was another movie in the middle of it, but
Okay, but
think
that
it
wasn't the
took
finale, right?
place. I think it took place in between Lilo and
Seasons.
Stitch the movie
Oh,
and Lilo and Stitch the
okay,
series
okay.
movie.
Okay,
I'm
so it was
pretty
like the
sure.
straight to DVD sequel kind of thing.
Yeah,
Straight to
kind
video.
of.
Mhm.
I can't say for sure. Maybe it took place after and the experiments like made cameos somewhere in the
Oh,
background.
okay, yeah.
Maybe, but I can't say for sure. But I
Mm,
definitely know that Leroy and Stitch was the finale.
okay.
And it had Leroy, who ended up being 629, which
Oh,
why did they
snap.
skip 628?
Yeah.
It would have made more sense for it to just have been that.
Would they,
But
why wasn't there any question about where 628 was?
there wasn't. They just skipped over that. Maybe there
Okay.
was plans of making it 628, but
Ah. And
maybe
they
there
had
was an
already written
oversight.
and maybe did the voice for this one, but then they had to like
Yeah,
cancel the episode or something.
possibly. But yeah,
All
it
right.
ended up being a whole was Infinity War where they bring up all the experiments all in one
Of
place.
course. He
Yep, because
says, Cap
Leroy ends up
on your
catching
Mila
every single one of them.
Kalapuishka. And then
Yeah.
all the experiments come from the portals.
Yeah, Hamsterville ends up like the way that movie starts is that
Mhm.
like Pleakley, Jumba, Stitch, they all get like a special like a special reward for like finding all the experiments and giving them a place to live.
Hmm.
And Jumba ends up getting confronted by Hamsterville
Okay.
to make the new experiment because he had something on him or something like that.
Ah, he was in the Epstein
And
files.
yeah, he was in the space rock island.
Uh-huh. Uh,
Oh no. Yeah, and then anyway, the he ends up making a bunch of clones of Leroy, and
okay.
originally we think it's just one, but it turns
Oh
out
my
to be a
goodness.
whole army
It's
of
an
them.
army of Leroys.
Yup, and then they end up having a huge battle scene where Stitch like ends up coming by and like riling up the experiments, even though they were
Uh,
captured. They end up finding a way to fight back, and it was a whole battle scene. It was a fun battle scene. It's one of those like everyone gets their own little scene to
yeah,
do like
right.
take out five or two Leroys, even though Stitch had a problem taking down one.
Yeah, that seemed right. Yeah.
Yeah, it
There
was
was also that
those
in,
kinds of scenes.
yeah, there was also that issue in Xiaolin Showdown where like when they first revealed Mala Mala Zhang, he was like this unbeatable, like just permanent fixture. But then later on, they like somebody brings in five Mala Mala Zhangs, and they were all
Yeah.
just taken out like they were grunts. Even though, well,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I suppose they split using the Ring of Nine Dragons, which supposedly splits your potential, but it's not explicitly said that it splits your strength, just like your attention span and your
Yeah.
maturity level. So I don't know, it could be. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that is a great show. I
Weren't
think
there were
it's
crossovers, right?
Oh, yes, that's right. I almost forgot about that. This
Oh
show
yeah.
was so great. It
Hmm.
crossover with not just one show, but I think like six different shows.
Yeah. And
They
like was
did
it were
cross.
all of them after the show ended or was it
No,
did
they
it
were in the middle of the show. They each had like an experiment that
okay,
came
yeah.
out as well.
Oh, so
Uh,
it was during the original run.
yeah, it was during the
Huh.
original run because they
I
were all
could
going
okay.
side by side with those shows at the time. They had Kim
Okay.
Possible, they had the
Oh, yeah.
American
Mhm.
Dragon, Jake
Right.
Long,
Oh wow, I
they
don't
had
remember that one.
Recess.
I remember the Recess one. That's the one that I was
Yes.
thinking about, and I got it backwards. Where Recess had ended, I think, like 5 years before that crossover. So it was
Yeah.
while Lilo and Stitch were still running, but Recess had ended a long time ago.
Yeah. Who would have thought they'd do a crossover with
For
Recess?
real, right?
And then they had other ones. I knew they said Kim Possible.
Right.
They did one with Jake Long. They did one with the Proud Family.
Oh yeah, the Proud Family. I
And let's
remember that.
see, I can't recall the other ones. I know they
Did
had a
they do
few
one with
more.
iCarly?
No.
Just random
Uh,
dancing, and then Stitch starts twerking.
and then Lilo goes, lol,
Yeah,
Leo.
exactly. That's
Yep.
exactly how
And
the show
then
worked.
that's how it would have won. There was the Disney
Mhm.
Nickelodeon crossover we were hoping for.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went all, I don't want to say all out, but I remember very much enjoying the Kim Possible crossover
Yeah, they treated
where
them as like events, right? Not
yeah,
just like
because in that
specials.
one Stitch got captured by the Dr. Drake,
Or Draken.
Draken, yeah,
Dr.
and
Yeah.
Kim
Mhm.
comes to save them. And then one funny bit in the show is
Uh-huh.
that the Pleakley and Jumba think that Rufus is an experiment that
Rufus?
Rufus the
Ah,
naked
yeah, the
mole rat
naked
that
mole rat.
Ron had.
That's
They thought it was
amazing.
an experiment that like had world-ending capacity
Oh my
abilities, so they would go and try to chase it all around
goodness. That's
while Ron would try
hilarious.
to stop them. It was a funny bit.
Uh,
But yeah, this show had a lot of great backing behind it with the
hmm.
crossovers, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure a large majority of the voice actors stayed
Yeah,
from
I
the
was gonna
movie.
ask. Hmm.
Like Lilo and Stitch kept their voice actors. Nani, I think,
Okay,
pretty sure
yeah.
Jumba, Pleakley. I
Definitely
can't
Pleakley.
think of who switched or not. I'm pretty sure a large
Did
majority of them.
Cobra Bubbles make appearances?
I remember Cobra Bubble making a few appearances. I'm
Okay. I
wondering if
think he was
he's,
voiced by Lawrence Fishburne, right, in the movies?
yeah, I
So I'm
think so.
curious if he would have come back for any of the shows or sequel movies.
Yeah.
And then what, Gantu? Did Gantu? Because he sounded similar,
Gantu, yeah,
right?
Gantu was definitely the same voice
Okay,
actor.
yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, and then there was one more character
yeah.
that wasn't in the show, that wasn't
Okay.
in the movie, that was in the
Mm,
show.
uh-huh.
Probably one of my favorite characters,
Ah,
625.
oh, I thought you meant the fat tourist.
Oh, the fat tourist.
The
No, he
fat,
was in the
bald,
movie.
white tourist.
Yes,
Oh, because I know in the
experiments.
movie, I don't think in the new movie he's a tourist. I think he's supposed to be a native,
Oh
right?
yeah, in the new movie, they made him a local, which kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, the whole thing was supposed to
Of,
be not a criticism, but like a show of frustration about the commercial, like
yeah,
the yeah, the tourism, the negative
yeah.
aspects of it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's an experiment called 625 that they
Mm.
bring in from like the movie show with Sparky. Ends up being the experiment right before Stitch, and it ends up
Okay.
being an experiment with all the same powers, all the same abilities,
Oh yeah.
but none of the drive.
Uh-huh.
But for
Yeah,
some
super
reason, a
lazy.
strong urge to make sandwiches.
Yep.
This
Uh,
experiment 625 just loved cooking and eating things,
yeah, he
and
was
it
great.
he would stay by Gantu for the
Uh-huh.
entire show.
Yeah, because Gantu thought like, hey, this guy's supposed to be as strong, but
But
ultimately he
nah,
didn't
for the
do it.
most part, he either just gets in the way or just cleans up after Gantu's failures.
Yeah.
And
Well,
in a
does he
way,
clean up after them, or I thought he just
well,
like
they kind of
messed
like
up the ship because he was making sandwiches all the time.
yeah, he would just be there for when
Oh yeah,
Gantu failed at the
yeah.
end
He
to make
was
a
like
quip about him.
his, yeah, like because he wasn't like a goon per se. He was very he was kind of like Iago from Aladdin, right? Like
Yeah.
he would mock him, but he was still kind of subordinate.
Yeah. And then tell me,
Eventually,
Mickey,
he gets named Reuben, right?
yeah, that's in the movie.
Okay, the movie.
Yep. And then guess who voices him?
Yeah. All right, let me think. Okay, so he had like a voice like nasally but kind of deepish.
Hmm?
He had like a no, who is it?
Rob Paulson.
Oh,
Yep. The guy
okay.
who voices
Let me think.
Darkwing Duck
Yeah,
and
cool.
other
That
characters.
Dangerous. Yeah, very
Yep.
prolific voice actor.
Yep, very well high. And you
Nice.
know what? He's my favorite character.
Yeah,
And
he was
yeah,
great.
they in the movie he finally gets like a motivation because of Lilo, and he even gets the name Ruben from him. It was a
Right.
great bit in the. It was a great like
Like
moment in the
emotional
movie.
arc closing, right? Like
Yeah.
it closes the character arc a little bit.
Yep. And I think he like in the end of the movie he stays with Gantu
Mm.
as well, and
Does
like.
Gantu get a? Does he become a like? What did he? I remember. I vividly remember a scene where he's like a hula dance, like the dancer in the same place where like Nani used to work at, right? But like I don't
Yeah,
remember if that's how he ended that the end his end job, or was that just like a scene?
I think that was just a scene in one of the
Okay.
episodes. Yeah.
Okay. Does he find like a place in society at the end?
Like in the movie, they give him I think they give him his old job back from the movie.
Oh, he gets hired
And
again by the Galactic
yeah,
Federation, I think, or something like that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then he ha keeps Ruben and his as his right hand man.
That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah,
That's nice.
it was great. It was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say that this show, I would show it to children. I would.
Yeah. Okay.
Watch by yourself, maybe a little bit, but if you have like a kid, I'd highly recommend, show them the movies first and
Right.
then show
Yeah.
them the show.
Hmm.
And it's great to watch. It's a great
Definitely.
watch. I definitely probably will watch it chronologically at some point.
Yeah, and honestly,
Definitely
now
a
that we've
high
talked
thing
about
of
it,
it.
I
And I
might
think
too.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely watch it with you, Mickey. I'll definitely
Yeah.
watch it
All
with you.
right. Let's do it. All
All
right.
right.
So this is going to be the last section, right? Our third section for this week. We're going to do, or for this, we're going to be releasing these probably every 2 weeks going forward. Maybe we'll reduce it, but for now, let's do 2 weeks. I
Yeah.
think for our last section, we should do recommendations.
Ah, all right. I'm down to do some recommendations.
All
All
right.
right, you want to
So,
go first?
yeah, let's go. So,
Okay.
my first thing, oh, I would like to recommend a TV show called Common Side Effects.
Okay. What's that?
So, it is a show about the pharmaceutical industry where somebody discovers a mushroom that can that has very very special properties, and then there's a lot of kind of critique about the medical industry. So it's really good. I would definitely recommend it. I believe it's on HBO Max. But yeah.
All right, nice.
Hmm.
All right, and then for me, I suppose I'd recommend The Amazing Digital Circus.
Okay.
It's an indie animation that gained a
Mm.
lot of popularity, I
From
think,
India or from
no,
Indiana or
no, indie, just
okay.
not a big corporation
Right.
made this
Okay.
show. Very low profiled in the beginning, but
Hmm.
definitely picked up a cult gathering because of
Nice.
this show. It essentially a show about these people who are kind of trapped in this virtual reality
Hmm.
that they can't die in and
Mm.
are these like colorful characters. These aren't their
Okay.
own bodies and
Ah.
they don't know too much about their old life. They know some aspects of it,
So
but
it's
they
an
don't know too
isekai.
much. Kind of, yeah. It's
Ah,
implied
okay.
that they got there by putting on VR headsets, so I suppose
Mm.
almost like Sword Art Online.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, these guys are unable to take off their headsets if they even still are, and they are kind of forced to be playing in these games that this AI called Kane is
Mm.
putting them through. And he thinks that he's giving them a fun time, but for the most part, the players are kind of having psychological torments happen to
Right.
them.
Like it's like a form of torture almost.
Yeah, but the AI doesn't believe so, and he thinks he's doing a great job.
Ah,
But yeah, a lot of great comedy aspects to it, some
nice.
horror, and it's
Okay.
an
Okay.
animation, but I'm not sure if I would show it to young children, but it's
Yeah.
definitely something that I'd highly recommend
Has a
people
lot of mature
watch.
themes, right?
Yes, quite a few
Okay.
mature jokes,
Hmm.
mature themes, but it's still all candy eyes animation. I love the animation in it so much.
Yeah. Oh, it looks really cool.
So top quality.
Nice.
And yeah, that's what I'd recommend.
Where can you find that?
And there you can check it out free on YouTube.
Okay.
It has a few places on streaming service that you can watch in. I think
Nice.
as of recently, Netflix wasn't able to continue having them on
Oh,
their streaming service, and I think they're
okay.
moving to Amazon Prime or
Oh,
Hulu, one of
okay.
those two. I'm pretty sure Amazon Prime.
Hmm.
But yeah, nevertheless, always free on YouTube. They made sure
Okay.
that they're gonna
Nice.
always have it on YouTube.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you again for joining us for Second Bowl of Cereal. For the Second Bowl of Cereal podcast, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm David.
And you can find us on Patreon, Spotify, and a few other places. I think YouTube as well. All right. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you then.
Have a second bowl of cereal on us.